Namaskara, name is Saidara. Welcome to my YouTube channel Dream to Go Online. So in this video, I'm going to explain about the implementation part as promised in my previous video. So those who haven't watched about the demo of this project, please go and watch. I will keep the link in the description box. Okay. Uh, and then, yeah, without wasting any time, let's start our video. To start our video, so we need to, you need to set up a local environment in order to start our video. Okay. So what is that local environment? You need to have a computer, of course, in order to write the code, you need a computer. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that you need to create a folder for the project. So I already created one empty folder. So that is shopping cart. Okay, I named it as shopping cart. You can name whatever you want. And then inside I just created another folder for the assets. So I downloaded these images and I kept them here, and also one trash icon as well. Okay, and these are useful for to sell my products online. Okay, in your case, if you wanted to sell different items, then download the different images and then keep it here. That's all. Okay, that's the base setup you need. And another thing is that you also need to install Visual Studio Code in your computer. In my case, I'm using the same IDE. Okay, so I'm using this IDE. So if you wanted to use a different IDEs as well, you can use. But if you want to follow along, then I suggest you to install this one. So IDE is nothing but integrated development environment. You can also write code in Notepad, but it's not really good for the productivity wise. So that's why I suggest you to install any one of the IDE. Okay, so go to ID, go to this Visual Studio. Go to Google and type VS Code, and then you will see here like this one, and click on download. Then you will have the respective installer for your operating system. Download that and install it. So if you have some problems, so comment down uh, on this video so that I will create another video for that for the installation purpose as well. Okay, so if many people are having that one. Okay, so and another thing is that in the same IDE, I also installed two more extensions. So Live Server and Prettier. So Prettier I'm going to use for code formatting, and Live Server is for the preview of my code, whatever I wrote in my folder. Okay. So for that I'm using that. I'm using that extension. Okay. So by saying this, we can start our project. So we need to first open our Visual Studio Code. Okay, so let's open that, and after that we need to open our folder. So in my case I saved in desktop, so let's go to your location and open it. Okay, so once you open it, so you are going to see your folder like this one. So this is the base we need. Okay, now we've completed the setup. So after that, I already shown that we installed two plugins. So how you can install, go to extensions and type here whatever the names. Okay, in my case I install these two extensions, right? So you can type as live server. I'm going to show one so that you can understand the rest. So here you see I already installed, that's why it is showing uninstall. So but if you haven't installed, then it will show you as install. So once you install, maybe it will ask you to reload the IDE, so you do that. Okay, and also same for the another extension. So if you have some problem as well, so comment down again. Okay, so that's the base setup you need, okay, in order to start our project. Okay, once you finish this one, then we can start. So I hope take a pause here and do that step and come back. Okay, so once you do that, once you do that, resume this video. Okay, so now we need to have three more files, so in order to create our project. Okay, so this project is like a lengthy project because it's a full e-commerce project, right? So that's why I wanted to divide this project into three different videos. Okay, so as part of the first video, okay, I'm going to create this grid with the list of products. Okay, so this grid we are going to create as part of the first video, and in the second video we are going to add this header and also this cart. So and also these actions like add to cart or delete buttons. Okay, and also actions like when you click on add to cart, what should happen, like this alert should be happen, and also this cart should be incremented, and again when you click on this delete, okay, again the alert, and also we need to decrement the cart. Okay, so these operations we are going to do as a second step. Okay, as a third step, so when you click on this cart, we are going to show this preview. Okay, that's the final part. So like that I'm going to upload these videos. Okay, so as part of this first video, so let's start creating this grid with the list of. Okay, so to do that, so we need to have three files like I mentioned before. So one is the HTML file to create our structure, and the second one is styles for to beautify our structure. So using CSS. And third one is we need to have a JavaScript file in order to have interaction for our HTML file what we created. Okay. So the first one. So let's create the structure. So the skeleton we need to create for our project. So let's take like this one. So this is the advantage using IDE instead of Notepad. Okay. So I'm going to name this project as shopping cart, and here I'm going to, okay. So I'm just giving some text here just to show you the preview of what we created so far. So to see the preview of the code, what we created so far, just right click here and then open with live server. So like I already shown before, so you need to install this extension and then you will have this option. If you haven't, then you don't. So I don't know in another browsers you will have this way of like seeing, but that's why I suggest you to install VS Code. Okay. So do this, open with live server, then you can see the preview of what we created so far. So shopping cart, hello world. Okay. So in this case, it is fine. Like you can also open, I mean, there is another way you can even see the preview without this extension. So you can just go here and then open with any browser or the same browser. Okay. So yeah, you can also see this, but uh, when it is going to be useful, because like you can't like every time, for example, like if you see this one, so I changed something and here it's updated as soon as I changed. But whereas like I shown before, so in this case, like okay, let's open this one as well. So if I change something now, okay, like here I added some more text as some blah blah blah, so it is updated here. You see, it's updated here, but it's not updated here because in this way, like it won't update automatically. You need to refresh in order to get the latest update. So that's the use of like this live server. So as soon as you change something, so we can see the output. So that's the use of this live server. And also another thing is that like we are going to simulate our like HTTP response from the server, okay, from our file system itself, like when we wanted to create this grid like all the items in a dynamic way. At the time, like the live server is really helpful. Okay, so that's the reason like you need to install that and follow along with me. Okay, and so in order to create our grid, so what HTML we need? So all we need is one div tag, nothing much, and we need to name this div tag as product list. So I'm going to name this as product list, but you can name whatever you want. Okay. So I just gave some meaningful name. Okay. So that's all. That's the HTML we need. Nothing else. So it's really shocking, right? So here there is nothing, and I'm saying like, okay, this is the only HTML I need. Yeah. I mean, this is the HTML we need, guys. Seriously. So uh, so how we can get these items then? So how we can get it is in general, like if you think about the real-time scenario, so all items won't be saved inside the file system, guys. So the products are going to be saved in database generally, and then okay, you need to have some backend programming just like Java, PHP, or .NET. So in that, you generally like write the code, business logic, and then get the products, and then you need to send back to the front end. So that's the normal way of getting those products. Okay. In this case, we can't do that entire thing. That's why. So I'm going to create another file. Okay. So that is going to be products.json. So in general, like from the backend, you are going to get some JSON. So I'm going to create that JSON and I'm going to simulate the same situation just like you do when you open Amazon or Flipkart. So you load the data, right? So just like that one. So we are also going to load. Okay. So to load, first we need to create the response, right? So the response we are going to receive is array of objects. So how you can create an array in JavaScript? So this is how you can create an array. Okay, and then you need to create multiple of projects, multiple products, right? So how you can do it? So you can create a multiple, objects. So in each object, which means that each object is nothing but a single product. Okay, so and also I need to have some properties related to each product. So what are the properties I need? So I need a name, price, currency, image. So the respective image related to the product which I wanted to sell. So those images I already downloaded, right? So these are the images I downloaded from the internet. But if you wanted to, if you wanted to have the same images, all you need to do is like go to Apple Apple Store. Okay, apple.com. So this is the page from where I downloaded from. So go to Google, I mean apple.com, and then click on store, and then again click on Apple Watch. So once you go here, you can find the images related to these grid items. Okay, so how you can download? So right click, open the image in new tab, and save as this image. Okay, so this way you can download, or there is another way, so save image as, this is the second way. So either way you can download the images and keep it in your folder. Okay, so I already did that, that's why I have these images. Okay, so that's the reason, like here I'm just giving the reference where my image is located. So my image is located in the same folder, and images slash, so the name of the file, and that's all. So like that, we need to add the objects. Okay, so the curly braces inside, we call it as an object, and square brackets, we can call it as an array. Okay, so I wanted to have more products, so you just need to copy and paste and change the names of the products and the prices and associated images, and that's all. So this way you created your own JSON. Okay, for this as a server. So how you can access this data? So how you can access is, you can access using JavaScript. So we already have an HTML. So in order to append, which means that in order to um, create our HTML dynamically, okay, statically. So to create static, you can just do in the same way, just like I did. Okay, so here you can name this, let's say for example, like product list item. Okay, I'm going to show the difference between a static and dynamic, and what is the use, and what, I mean, why we are not doing in a static way. So let's see. Uh, okay, price is like maybe let's say 20,000. Okay, so my member lock is blocked. Okay, so let's enable that. Okay, 20,000. So let's say I'm going to make this as a dollar, whatever it is. So in this case, I'm going to call this as product one. And then maybe I also need an image, right? So image. So and then so you can give some width and also height. Okay. So with this, we are able to create one product in our HTML structure. So you can see I have one product name and the price and also image. Okay, so this is the same thing. But what if I wanted to have like another, I mean, let's say like 10 products. So what I need to do is like in a static way. So I need to copy paste this like this. So if I do that, so I'm going to have like multiple products. Okay, so but in reality, like you're not going to do like this. Okay, so like in Flipkart or Amazon, you don't do this. So because if you wanted to change something, okay, you need to give an access to admin, right? So how you do that? So when you read from a database, then only you can do like that. So in order to do give the access to the like the admin to change this data, so you do it in a dynamic way. So that's why we just need only one, and this one object we are going to create dynamically and append to product list. So that's the difference. So if you do it in a dynamic way, so you give the control to the admin to change the entire data, okay, and you just rely on the server to fetch the data and show exactly like this. Okay, but if you don't depend on the server, if you create directly using this HTML, you can modify the data directly here, and you can do it in a static way, but it is not scalable for the real project. Okay, so that's why I wanted to give the real time scenario. So that's why we are going to load the data from the server. So that's why we created this JSON. Okay, so in the next phase, maybe like after this project, okay, so we can also connect our own database and load this JSON into our database table, and then we can write the business logic to write a controller to read this data from the table and then come back. Okay, so but this is a long process, so don't I mean forget about that. For the moment, just think that so our server is products.json file. Okay, so how we can access our server? So we can access our server using a fetch method, but before that we need to have a reference for this one, because we this is the div element we wanted to append to, right? So to have a reference, how we can do it? So let's create a var, and I'm going to name this as product list. is equal to document dot get element by ID. Okay, so what is the ID? Okay, so I closed it accidentally. Okay, let's reopen it. And then, so here, there you go. So now I have the reference. And after that, we are going to use a fetch method, just like we use for the external server to call. So in this case, ours is internal server, and we just need to call our file. So once we do that, and it is going to return some response. Okay, so it is going to return some promise first. So we already know this promise is always going to be okay. So that's why I'm going to return as my JSON. And then again, I'm going to use another then method to get the final data. So this is a function, and like that we are able to show in the console. So this is the fetch method. It's pretty straightforward. So fetch is the method which uses to call for the internal purpose or external purpose. In this case, I'm using internally because I'm calling my own file. Okay, and after that I'm returning a promise. So this promise is returning like if it is returns okay, which means that okay, I will show you directly. So before that, we need to attach our JavaScript to our HTML. So how we can do that? So we can do using script tag. So we need to tell to our HTML where is our JavaScript file is located. It is located in the same folder. Okay, so like that you can see. So this is located in the same structure. So that's why I'm using dot. But if it is located in images, so then I can use like slash images slash the script.js. Okay, so once we did this, so now if we go to our Chrome, and then if you inspect, so and then how you can see the network call. So go to network and now try to refresh, and you should see product.json. Okay, so you see here we are calling this server. Okay, so in this case this is a local server with this port ID. Okay, so and then we are calling our own file. Okay, if you wanted to open this file individually, you can also open, by the way. So you can open and you can see the response. So this is the response of related to our file. So we have the response. Okay, so all the products what we needed, just like we simulated, like I mean Flipkart or Amazon, whatever. So this is how we call our servers and then get the data. So once we got the data, we need to see in HTML, right? So for that for now, I just did console log to see whether I got the data from the server or not. So if you see here, and this is where we have, this is how you can debug, by the way. If you refresh and you see here, there is the data, and this is the object we console log. So you can see data is like 8 items. So now we know what are the data we need to what is the data we need to append to our HTML. Okay, so let's go ahead, let's do that. So let's, if data and data.length length is greater than 0, so then do something. If not, don't do anything. So we know that this is an array, so we can loop for loop, we can for each uh, for our array. So this is our array is data, and then here we can call this as broad and short, and then index. So you see here in products.json, we don't have an ID related to each particular product. So that's why I'm going to use index as an ID. Okay. So as soon as like when I wanted to have a reference, so I'm going to use this one. Okay. So inside that, we need to create each time one div, right? In a static way, we copy pasted, right? So in this way, you don't need to copy paste. You can just create one element, and then because you are already inside the for loop, and you can append each time whenever this particular operation runs. So now what we need to do is we need to create an element. So one dynamic element, so that is like document dot create element, just like you did in before in HTML. This is also same, but this is with the help of JavaScript. So you are creating a div element, and inside that, and again for this div element, I wanted to add a class just like you did in HTML. So I'm doing the same thing. So product list item. Okay, so I'm giving the name of my class is this one because this is common for all the products. That's why I'm using class. If it is unique, I can use ID again. So, and after that, I wanted to attach So some inner HTML. So how I can attach an inner HTML using with the help of backtick characters. So I need to find my backtick character in my keyboard. So this is the backtick character. So why how it is used? So if you use this one, so you can attach any HTML or like any variable directly inside it with the help of some okay. I will show you the variable how you can attach. So for example, like you wanted to have span tag, so you can do this one like this one. um, okay, so the variable is related to our name of the okay, the name of the product. So this is the name, because you see here inside, like this is the name we are calling. So because this is a single individual item, right? So that's why I have the reference related to that. If it is null, okay, just keep this condition so that if it is null also it will print. Okay, so in this way you can have one name. Okay, that's the top one. So according to our preview, so this is the first thing we did, and the second thing is the price. Okay, so let's go to here and then add the price we need. Okay, so for this I'm using a p tag. Okay, so let's copy paste the same thing so that we can change quickly. So here we can use p, and also here p. Okay, so instead of name we can call it as price, and also we need to have like the currency, right? So how we can do that with the help of concatenation. So you can do with the help, I mean, just like this. So in this way, you have name and price and currency. So this is a concatenation in JavaScript. This is how you do it. And after that, we also need an image. So we can use image tag in HTML in order to load our HTML uh, for this product item structure. Okay, so we give dynamically the path of our individual product. Okay, the image. So, and after that, okay, this alt cannot be, I mean, this alt also can be changed, but in my case, so like I wanted to keep it as empty. Okay. So, and after that, so what we need to do is like we also need to have some information related to the button, right? So, because you see here in the preview, we have a button. So, we also need to create that for each item. So, this is the each item's information. So, that's why I'm adding some more information. So, don't worry, I'm just creating a div tag. So this is the start and this is the end. I just gave a class name, and inside that I just created one button. So again, I'm using a button for the button HTML tag in order to create a button. And after that, this is the only new thing which I haven't explained. This is the data attributes related to this button. That's all. There is nothing fancy here. So inside the button, so I have a text. Okay, the name of the button. Okay, so in this case, the for the first time, always related to each item, it's going to be add to cart. Okay, so this particular text is going to be changed to when you click. Okay, right now we don't need to worry about the click part because like that part is going to be come in the next video. Okay, so for the moment just think that okay, this is the information related to this button. Okay, the attributes. So what I'm doing was I'm just showing that, I mean, whenever as soon as you click on this button, okay, we wanted to know what is the price related to this product. So that's why I added one attribute related to the price, and we also need to know what is the ID related to this product. So we added the index. Like I mentioned before, we don't have the ID here directly, but generally like in real time scenario we also have going to have ID. So you can also create an ID attribute here and 1 2 3 4 5 6 like that, but I wanted to for the dynamic purpose, so I use index. Okay, so instead of not creating that one. Okay. So, and also I wanted to know the I mean name related to this, because this information is going to be utilized in the preview part. So that's why I added these properties. I hope you understand and it makes sense. Okay. It makes sense for you. So, and that's all. So, and okay, this information is should be in absolute position. So that's why I'm going to keep this in the upper position. Okay. And that's it. So with this, we completed the dynamic div part. But if you go here, you are not going to see anything. Okay, I need to take off this one. So if you see now, you don't see anything, but uh, why? Because we haven't attached to our reference. So let's attach to our reference. So reference. So this is the reference related to that. So what we need to do is append child. So we need to append a child the element we created. So the element is this one. So because this you see here, we create a dynamic element and then we added a class, and this is the inner HTML related to that part. Okay. So with this we completed, and if you go back, you see now we have the list of products. Okay, so what we created one HTML. Okay, so this HTML inside our HTML file. Okay, and then dynamically with the help of JavaScript, okay, we loaded our data with the help of this URL. Okay, so we loaded these products. Okay, and then with the help of this products list, so we looped over and we created this dynamic HTML. So in this way, you don't need to worry about the front end whenever there is a change related to the name or image or the price, whatever it may be. Okay, and also the count. So you don't need to worry about the count as well. So when there is a new product, it will automatically shown in the front end. That's the use of the dynamic section. If you do it in a static way, you need to create another HTML by doing copy and paste. So that's the use of JavaScript and how you can dynamically load the product uh, in your HTML. So now you know how you can create your own HTML and how you can load your own data from the server, and how you can create your own like dynamic developments. Okay, and you know how you can append to the existing HTML also. Okay, so now we finished the first part related to the grid, but we left with the CSS part. So let's go ahead and style this just like this one. Okay, so how we do that? So the first thing is we need to attach our CSS file, because we created another file, right? We can also write CSS directly here by using a style tag. Okay, so this is the style tag. We can directly write here. Let's say, for example, I wanted to attach a background color, red, and then if you go back and you see here, completely red. So this is really useful, like if you write like a little CSS, but if you write like maybe like okay 100 lines, so then this is not going to be used. I mean, readable, right? So that's why we create a separate file, just like you have like a JavaScript. You see here now 25 lines. If you keep them directly here, you can also do directly keep them the script here, but for the readability purpose, for the formatting wise, and for the code formatting, so I keep my code out, I mean, in separate files. That's how in general like you work in a real companies. Okay, so this is a neat way you can this is what we call as code refactoring. And this is, if you write like this, everybody will like the way you write the code, and it is also easy to understand for the other person to see your code. Okay, I mean, by seeing itself, they can easily understand that okay, all the code related to CSS is in this file, all the JavaScript information, I mean JavaScript code is inside this file, and all the HTML is related to this project is inside this file. So that's how you segregate your code and let make other people to understand your code, what you wrote. Okay, so maybe also for you, maybe if you wanted to come back to the same project for after 1 year, then you come here and then boom, that's how. Okay, that's the use of this. And let's link our style file. So this is how you can link, because this is in the same hierarchy again. So that's why I added dot. But for example, like if I wanted to load also images, so you can load like this one, guys. So slash images and then the image file name. So that's it. Okay, so in this case this should be the CSS file. So okay, so now we loaded the CSS file. Let's add the necessary CSS in order to make this grid. Okay, so to do that, the first thing is that every time, like whenever I start, so I do one thing, that is like having a reset CSS. So let's add a reset CSS first. Okay, so what is reset CSS? So in this case, reset CSS. So what is reset CSS? Reset CSS is nothing but, so for example, if you inspect this element, like the body, so you see here there is a margin. Okay, so this unnecessary margin is there for this HTML, because by default HTML will have its own default properties of the CSS. So if you don't want this kind of behavior for some elements, let's say for example, you see for paragraph you have some margin on top and bottom, but there are no other properties like padding or border, but only margin is there. Just like for the body, you have all the margins, top, left, right, and bottom, but there are no padding and there are no border. So in order to eliminate this unnecessary like default CSS, so we need to have reset CSS. So what we are going to do, so we are going to add those reset CSS as a first step. So this is the reset CSS for all the elements which we used in our project. So forget about this font family. Okay, so I used like padding 0, margin 0. So I just added color for my template. So I'm using this background color. This is a hexadecimal value. Okay, so all the time it is going to be 8 digits, so you can change also like this one, guys. So this is the advantage using editor, so you can change dynamically the, okay, the color based on your choice. Okay, so you can also do that. Okay, so in my case I'm not going to change it. So this is the background color I want to use, this is the color I wanted to use for all these elements. Okay, so once I do this and if I go back now, if you see like there are no padding or margin for the body or for the paragraph. See, that's the use of reset CSS. Now I can create my own space, how much space I needed in a pixel perfect way. Okay. So, and after that, also another thing is that I wanted to add some more information related to paragraph because I wanted to have a background color as white. Okay. So, and the color as black because if you go back and you see, so now before it was like this one. So if you inspect, so the paragraph, if I don't have a background, so you see, so it is not visible. So only if it is visible if I use uh, as a white color. So I don't want to use white color for the paragraph. So I want to use background as white color and the foreground color should be black. So 00 is nothing but a black, guys. So FFF means like white. So you can also use like, I mean, you can also write this one as this is a short. So you can also do this. I mean, it's the same thing. Okay. Also 60 becomes a black as well. Okay. So that's it. So now I have the background color just like this one. So now I need to make them in a grid way. So how I can do that? So first thing is I need to access my, okay, I need to target this one, right? So how can I target this particular ID? So this is an ID, so I'm going to use as like that. So if it is a class, so you need to target like that. Okay, so in this case it is an ID, so that's why I'm using hash. So the first thing I need to do is like display flex. So if I do that and you see just like this one, I'm having something, but whereas here there is some maximum width applied. That's why it is all the time, even though there is a space here, it is not taking that space. Okay, so but here it is taking width as 100%, and also you see, so there is a scroll bar, and we should not, we need to avoid this one. So how we can do that? So we can do in this way. So maximum width as 1440 pixel I'm using, and remaining all the time I wanted to make them center with these properties. So if you go now, you see it started from here, and even though it started from here, but it is taking so much width. So this is because of the flex, not because of the maximum width property. So how we can avoid this? So we can avoid using, so after the 100% width, I wanted to come back to the next row if there is no space. So if I do that, you see here now, so the width is same, okay, just like this one. But the only thing is now we need to have some margins and the padding exactly like this one, and also the width of each item is different compared to what we are seeing here. So at the moment we haven't specified the each width, right? So how we can specify? We need to target first our inner element. So the inner element class is this one. So let's target that one. Okay. So let's target this, and we need to specify the width. So in this case, I want to specify as 25% the width of each item. You see, now it makes sense, and it's is little similar to what we have here. Okay, so here also I wanted to use the display property as a flex. So display flex, I wanted to, the flex direction in this case is should be a column because You see 1, 2, 3. So these items should be in the column wise, and this should be in the row wise for the grid. So that's why I use x direction as column. By default, if you don't specify, it is always going to be in a row format. Okay. So if you don't know anything related to flex, okay, comment down on my video so that I will make another video if you want it. Okay. But this is not the video about like CSS part. So just think that like display flex is a very powerful tool to manage our UI in a more organized way for the row wise or column wise. Okay. So and after that, all you need to do is like align items to center. This is another property related to flex. So in this case, you see now I manage them into make them in the center. So and also I wanted to have a background color. Okay. So the background color I wanted for this one as okay, the white color, because since I downloaded the images are not PNGs, but they have some background color as white. That's why I wanted to have that one. So I added this. Okay. So in your case, if you are like if you have a PNG images, then you can use a transparent as well, but as you wish. But if you wanted to follow along with me, so the same UI, then follow. Okay. So have the same background color as well. Okay. And now okay, for each item, I also wanted to have some padding and margin because you see here there is some spacing and like that, right? So how we can provide the spacing? So we can provide the spacing with the help of margin because on each place I wanted to have. So you see I have, and also I wanted to have some border radius. Okay, so let's add some border radius as well. So in this case, I'm going to add some border radius as 10 pixels. So okay, this is now making little good just like the old one. Okay, and also here you see there is a color is different, so I'm going to add again the same the same color I needed. So the color I wanted was color is in this case it should be black. Okay, so let's add the black color so for each item inside this one. Okay, so you see now I have the color, and also this button should not be visible. Okay, it should be only visible on hover. Okay, so how we can do that? So anyway, by default, the button should be not visible. So how we can target this button? So this is inside info button, right? So let's target this class. So info button by default, it should not be visible. So how we can do that? So display none. Okay. So if you do that, you see now there is no button. Okay. So we will see about that like this interaction in the next video. But for the moment, just think that we are, I mean, we don't want to display that button. Okay. So we have the margin, but there is a problem here. So there is no padding inside. That's why like we are, I mean, these are touched to the border. So let's add some more padding here. So let's add padding also another 10 pixel so that it will be nice. So, okay. So now this is nice. And also for the image, for the first time you see, so this is not 100%. So the only it is 100% only when you on hover or when you zoom. So in this case it is like 100% by default, right? So let's add also another CSS uh, attributes related to that. So how we can do that? So this is inside product list item image, right? So let's target that one. So the image one. So how we can target? This is how you can target. So transform. So what is the property? Yeah, transform. So transform scale and 70%. 0.7 means 70%. So by default, the image should be 70%. Only it should be 100% only on hover. Okay. So on hover, how can we add on hover effect? So we can add on hover effect like this. So image on hover, you can copy paste the same thing and have on hover property. And when it is on hover, let's make it as 100%. So you see, but there is a difference here. So it is like there is a transition. Okay, so let's add also transition property for this when you on hover as well. So to do that, so all you need to do is like add transition property. Okay, so transition property all, that's all. Okay, so now if you go boom. Okay, So there is all, but we need also need to define also the time period we need. Okay. So we want at least 1 second. Okay. This is nice. Okay, so now it's complete, but there is some problem again. Here you see, for each row I have 4 elements, but here it is like only 3 elements. So there is like enough space to have another fourth element, but it somehow it came down because the width is always 25%, right? But you also had some margin because of that, so it is not able to fit into here. Okay, so that's why it came down. Okay, because of the flex property. So how we can adjust this is like, okay, we need to properly calculate percentage, because if you calculate just 25% by 100, like you have 4 elements, right? So in this case 25% minus, we also need to eliminate the left and right of the margin, because padding is fine which is inside. Margin, you see here, it is because of this margin this particular item is came down. So if you divide, I mean, if you calculate that. So generally the margin is here like is 10 pixel. So for each item you have like left like 10 plus 10 is 20. So in this case like it's going to be 40 pixel. So if you add 40 pixel, so you see, so if you eliminate, because you have 40 pixel on all the side, I mean 10 pixel on all the sides, right? So that become a 40 pixel. So if you minus those 40 pixel, so then all the time it is going to be 25%. So you have the perfect grid just like you have the demo. Okay. So with this, we completed the grid part for listing all the products what we needed for our project. For instance, now, like I said, this is a dynamic way, right? So how we can add one more product? So this is how we can add one more product. So if you want to add another product, so this is how you can add. So you can name here whatever you want, the price, whatever it is needed, and then you see. So if you load, you have another product. So this is how, in general, in live, I mean live projects, okay, for the real-time projects we work. Okay, so for the moment let's delete this is just to show. Okay, so we completed the first part of our implementation part related to our shopping cart. So see you in the next video, but okay, we can also add like this text as well, but okay, we can add in the next video. No problem. Take your time to practice this information. So what we did, to summarize, we created one HTML file, and we also created three more files, one for the CSS, one for the JavaScript, and also the products for the server. Okay, so we connected to our HTML and we have only one div tag, guys. So this is really awesome. Okay, so people who are new to HTML, okay, so you might need think that, okay, why we just have one div tag? So the reason is this, because we created more HTML inside our JavaScript. So that's the power of JavaScript, to create more HTML without need to have like more HTML in a static way in this HTML file itself. Okay, so I hope you learned something out of this video. Okay, so if it is really helpful for you, then please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel online, and don't forget to share this video to your friends, those who wants to learn how to write HTML, CSS, or JavaScript code, okay, on their own. So see you guys in the next video.